Well, happy Saturday. We're talking about growing not only love, but how about veggies from seed? And we're getting smart here with David Snow, who knows all about it. Cindy Dole, Home Wizards, we're here to help you enjoy all the spaces you call home. And so why not enjoy it outside and inside in terms of having some of your own edibles? So, David, we're getting now to the seed part in terms of getting the seed in the soil, which we have here on display in the studio in our little plastic container that has a lid because we're going to create our own greenhouse. But before we even put the seed in the soil, tell us about your special secret that has to do with the dryer.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, but ladies, you're going to love this because it's an easy, you have an appliance called the dryer, you use it maybe once a day, and when you put your seeds in the soil medium and then put them in that little plastic container we're talking about them, and
so they're already in the soil now.
Yeah,
okay.
So they're in the soil, and you've sprinkled the top layer of a little medium. You're not burying them too deep, maybe just a quarter of an inch, and then you're going to water them. Okay, and I don't recommend just getting a hose and just use a spray bottle, and then water them from the bottom up. So you're going to take the tray, this tray, and you're going to put it in a little larger tray. And I'm going to show Cindy this right now.
So a little drainage saucer, if you will, looks like.
So,
yeah, because that makes sense because you've already made some holes in the bottom of this container, and you don't want to all of a sudden have water everywhere. So got it. So now you're just using almost like a casserole platter of some kind just to catch the drainage.
Well, I would say, again, use all those recycled aluminum that trays.
Anything.
Yeah,
the old turkey thing that you use, once a year.
Or if you've ever catered a party and they brought all the food in that one. So you'd pour just about a half inch of water and let the water move through the old days.
Like you water orchids is what you're saying.
Yes, so, osmosis.
So you're watering the again, which is our saucer, which is carrying inside let me just restate this. You have your little veggie, what do you call in this container? We're going to call that our
mini greenhouse.
Our mini greenhouse, and we've put that inside now a larger platter that's about 2 inches deep. You're going to put the water in the larger platter, not in the plastic container.
I'm going to take a spray bottle.
Okay.
And I'm going to just squirt around the top just to moisten the top layer. And then I'm going to let the water slowly, meticulously, just move up into the seed.
And why are we doing that? Is it just floods them otherwise to water from above?
Very honestly, I grow a lot of seeds, and I can't be there to water all the time. And there were times when I would ask my son, would you please go water the seeds?
And he pretty much said, yeah.
And he took the high-pressured spray hose on
no.
it. Yeah, I did, but things like that happen. I mean, he knows now that you have to be, when the seeds are very delicate at this time. So it's better to bring the water up to them from the bottom. And then you can take these out. And now this is where we're going to talk about the dryer.
Okay.
The clothes dryer.
So the water has completely been absorbed now by your little mini greenhouse, which is the plastic container holding your seeds.
Maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.
And you'll see it. Okay. Everything is moist, and you're going to put the top on, and you're walking into the laundry room now.
With your little seedling tray and lid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the laundry room sometimes is a sensitive area. This is where your wife sometimes is doing the laundry, or whoever. And like in our house, we feed the cats up there on the dryer. So I have to move the cat bowls and the water, and then I put my seeds in the trays. And I usually have 3 or 4 trays going at any one time. And so I'll put a little bit of newspaper on the top. Now, what's going on with the dryer, because everyone's probably going, what in the world is the dryer have to do with seed germination?
And the dryer is on.
And everybody knows when you put your hands on the top of the dryer, there's just a little bit of heat on the top. And you always say, oh, that's warm. Sometimes your cat likes to take a little nap up there on the dryer. And seeds respond to heat, bottom heat, low dosage of bottom heat. But they also respond to that agitation when the dryer. Now, Cindy thought I was going to put the seeds in the dryer. We got to make one thing straight. They go on the top of the dryer, not in the dryer.
I thought you were going to put them in a baggie in the dryer
because
or something.
I'm telling you, if you want to make someone upset,
that's not going to be not a good
do
scene.
Not put the seeds in the dryer.
So they're sitting on the dryer for the spin cycle, or
No, the whole
darn cycle.
The whole darn cycle, which is usually 35 to 45 minutes or so, depending on what you're.
That's a lot of shaking and baking, and that's going to stir up the molecules and kick them into growth.
Yes, it agitates the molecules that make up the seed. And I mean, this is my own theory. I don't know. I just kind of fell onto this, that it just made sense. Shake them and bake them. And I always call it, I just call it, hey, do the shake and bake. Now, you only have to do it for 2 days at the most, and then just put them back on the shelf where they can get a little bit of sunlight, and you'll see them pop up in 5 days.
So you're shaking and baking for 2 days, like the entire laundry set or whatever you're doing? Okay.
You're not shaking and baking solidly for 24 hours a day, okay, or 48 hours.
That's not going to be good on our electric bill.
No. And you're only shaking and baking while you're drying your clothes.
Okay.
So here you have to use the dryer anyway. And so it's a dual purpose. You're kind of multitasking in the laundry room. And this really helps. In about 5 days, you're going to come out, and those seedlings are just jumping.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, the leaves are sprouting.
You see them right here.
How old is this little tray of these are tomatoes, right?
No.
No, this is chive?
This is milkweed.
This is milkweed. Okay, how old is this?
That's probably about 5 weeks. Right
5
there.
weeks. All right. So that takes us to, all right, so we've chosen our tray. We have the extra watering, saucer that's going to help us water from the bottom up. We're going to then, after it absorbs, do the shake and bake for 2 days. And now where are we going to put this thing? How much sunlight does it need? Doesn't it have to be outside?
Try to get a window. I mean, any
so
window will do.
So we're keeping it inside.
But try to get like a southern or an eastern window that gets morning sun, just enough sun, and try to avoid maybe a western window that gets the late afternoon sun because you don't want it to be too hot. Now, you understand, too, we're not necessarily doing it in July. I mean, when we're really in our seed mode, it's January, it's December, it's the cold months, that when it really needs that bottom heat. So we're tricking it into thinking when it's on top of the dryer that it's spring and summer.
It's like,
Yes. So that, I mean, just so you understand, we don't necessarily, if it's in July, and obviously today and this whole week has been pretty warm, you don't necessarily may have to rely on the dryer as much. It's nice to do it in the fall and in the midwinter, because anytime you're growing from seeds, whether putting them on the dryer or putting them on in a little greenhouse, you're always trying to trick them to think that it's a little warmer than it is. Now, the other thing I was going to say, because a lot of people work and they have to water these a little bit, so a lot of times it's easy to sometimes keep them in a little tray with a little bit of water at the bottom, and that's what keeps them moist. So if you're away and you go to work or you come back for a couple more days, that it stays just a nice medium. It's moist in that
So
area.
wait, but the water isn't in the seedling container. It's in the saucer that's on the outside, because you don't want it to be soaking in water and mud, right?
No, just put a little bit in the bottom.
In the tray.
And you'll see it'll disappear.
So it's absorbing from those little holes, the drainage holes that you've poked through the plastic. And so it's getting how many, like maybe an hour of morning sun, and that's enough?
Well, it depends on where your window is.
Okay.
I mean, our window just happens to be that it gets probably about 3 hours of morning sun that comes in. And then I have, now, what I don't recommend, and again, this is just a tip, is not to just move them right out into the sunlight. It does need 3 or 4 hours of sunlight, but it doesn't need that afternoon
That's too
sun.
intense.
It'll
too much.
burn them out. And and it's happened to me. It happened to me last week. I left them out. I was kind of, in one hand, it's a double-edged sword. Because on one side, you want them to get as much sunlight as possible, or else they'll grow really tall and thin. So you're trying to, but you have to be careful. If it's 95 degrees, and I'm in Thousand Oaks, and it gets hot up there. So I just, got burned a little bit. Came home, and those young seedlings just were laying down. I said, oh, sorry. I guess we're back to the drawing boards. So, yeah, it happens.
Okay. So you have your little seedling container, and you're using the water bottle all the time. I don't get the water bottle if you're watering the saucer. You're not watering the seeds themselves.
Yeah, I'm always got this. You always use the water bottle, recycle those too.
But why? Why are you
because
using
I'm always cooling them off.
So you do mist over.
Oh, I do mist.
You mist them, but then but then you can pour maybe a couple inches on the outer little saucer tray that's catching the water to water from underneath.
Yeah.
All right.
All you're trying to do, Cindy, is not to let them dry out. And the whole thing with the water bottle and the little sprayer is just like when you're at the produce department at the store.
Sure, I'm always there when the shower comes
when the mister
on.
comes down.
Yes.
I mean, that's all it's doing. It's just give them a quick shower and it cools them down.
Yeah.
And that's all you're trying to do. And it's always just nice to have the water bottle around. And so...
Okay. Well, when we come back, we want to talk about fertilizing and any other special secrets that you have to kind of boost the growth, because I want to grow these babies from seed? We can do it. I mean, I know that it's
Absolutely.
hot now. Let's still do it. It's fun.
Oh,
It's a fun
absolutely.
project. Home wizard Cindy Dole, maybe you have a question about veggie gardening. The number is 888-539-2980. What kind of veggie would you grow from seed? 888-539-2980. This is KFWB News Talk 980.
When the weather is hot, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find. If a daddy's rich,
Welcome back on this summer Saturday. Cindy Dole here. You're listening to Home Wizards, all about helping you enjoy the spaces that you call home, whether it's inside or outside. And, everyone's into this edible gardening thing. Are you doing it already? And if you're just thinking you want to give it a go, why not try from seed? And with me is a guy that says we can do this. We can be successful and even have a real fun experience with the entire family, David Snow. We've been learning about creating our own little greenhouse, if you will, by using a plastic container that has the lid on it. It can be the stuff that you get at the restaurants, with the leftovers, and you're going to use the soil and put the seed in there, and you close the lid, and it becomes the nice greenhouse effect to keep it nice and warm. And then it after you do the shake and bake, too, of course, we talked about putting this on a warm dryer during the cycle to let it shake and activate the seeds that are in the soil so that it knows that it's time to start growing, darn it. So, again, thanks for hanging out, David. And so we're talking about the next few steps. You mentioned that it's very important. You have some beautiful seeds here that have leaves on them. You want us to pinch the leaves. Tell us about that.
Well, now that we've taken it from the step of we've got our sprouted seeds,
Yeah.
and they're about 2 or 3 weeks old, and you can see how the leaves are now tall enough that you can pinch them back a little bit because you want them to be bushy. Now, some plants, like tomatoes, you want like a multiple stem. You want the main runner coming up. And in the case of the milkweed, we want a bushy plant. We don't want one single stem coming up. We want 5 stems. So even at the young age, we pinch them back. And what you just do is take your scissors, and it has a nice point, and you just come up and cut them back like that. And it's just as simple as that.
It looks like somebody took a munch out of it, but that's okay.
Yeah, and because
it's going to make it fluffier.
Absolutely, it's kind of like the old people will understand. You have to pinch back your azaleas.
Sure, and roses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deadhead. And so, but we're doing that for veggies.
Yes.
too.
Well, you're trying to you want when a person comes in and looks at a plant to buy, you want it to be bushy.
Multiple stems.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Multiple stems
Love that.
means more flowers.
So here you've been waiting so long to see signs of life and some leaves, and now you're going to tell us to cut it off.
but in a week you'll see
I get it.
multiple stems coming up. So
Okay.
where we take this, Cindy,
Yes.
is we are taking it from this little portable
greenhouse.
greenhouse that
Yeah.
we've got from these.
And how long, by the way, excuse me, do we have the lid down? You mentioned that the lid is down sometimes.
Just about a week.
Oh, the whole.
About a
So
week.
for the first week, the lid is just down entirely,
until you start seeing the sprouts,
and then it's up.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you can lift up. You can kind of keep it down to protect it too. So if it's outside, it's being protected at night from all those little critters that we talked about.
Right.
And then you're just going to pull these roots out, and let's lift.
So
one
now
up
you're
right
going to
here.
transplant
Yeah,
it.
there you go, and you're going to separate one. Just like this.
And you're going to put that in what they call a 6-pack. You've seen those little black guys where the little black containers you buy, any plant from the nursery.
Well, and it's you've got them usually in your backyard already from the time that you bought a 6-pack of petunias or pansies.
Right. So save them for your next little adventure here with seeds.
Because plants are sold in either a dirt flat, like a ground cover, or they're sold in a pony pack. 6-pack, pony pack, or they're sold in 4-inch round pots. So I always just say keep them and you'll use them because then what you're going to transfer these up will be in here for about maybe 3 weeks
and
or
in
4
there,
weeks.
And in there they're going to be outside in full sun.
Yes. Now,
so now
I
how we're
would
going to
just give them a little afternoon shade.
Afternoon shade.
Yes. I mean, I'd go full sun until about 3 or 4.
And now how are we watering those guys? Because now they aren't they don't have a saucer water from underneath, never watering from above.
Okay, go buy a multiple little...
spritzer.
Yes, that has a mist. That has the mister. Because the mist will put out, and sometimes you can just lay the mister on, and it'll just slowly mist and that way. But when they get even old like this, you just have to kind of be careful to put it in.
But keep it moist.
Yeah.
But not soggy.
And the key to it's always kind of, they're still kind of tender, but you want to fertilize them.
Okay.
So if you're going to fertilize them, sometimes we'll add Super Thrive. and you mix it in with water. And it's a very low dose. It's a quarter teaspoon per gallon. So just a half a teaspoon.
So what's in it? What's the
just
vitamin?
A lot of organic, kind of just small organic minerals that help them young. And then we'll also take just a little bit of, say, a starter fertilizer. Kellogg's makes a great one, just starter fertilizer, and it's a 4, nitrogen 4, potassium, 4-32, and that is just a good balanced fertilizer. What the plants are really looking for right now is phosphorus and potassium. They don't need nitrogen. So don't put a lot of nitrogen. Just sprinkle and go light, but you've got to feed them.
Okay. I mean, you feed them like what, once a week?
I'd go every 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've transferred to the 6-pack, and then we're going to keep them in the 6-pack for how long? About a month?
Yeah, about a month.
And then we're going to transfer them to the next size, that classic terracotta plastic container where you also buy plants from at the nursery. Yes. And you're going to keep that way for how long?
Yeah, and that's what you're going to grow them out in.
Until you want to put them in a larger container?
Absolutely.
Or in the ground?
Well, Cindy, even at this point, we could put them in the ground.
We could, but then it just feels like they're so fragile.
Well, I know, but every farmer's had fragile crops. I mean, they've got to take care of them, and that's where you have to kind of keep the snails and the slugs, earwigs or pincher bugs.
And that's where the flashlight comes in. So you tell me that every night you're out there with your flashlight checking out for slugs?
Not every night. A lot of nights, though. It kind of becomes a part of a routine. I mean, I have a vested interest in this.
And your wife doesn't mind?
No, well, I always tell people, look, be careful. If, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and you're out in your front yard, and you have a flashlight. And you're in your boxers. Please, if a car comes down the street, just hold the light down, and they'll go past, and nobody gets hurt. So if you're in your backyard, anything goes. And I always kind of laugh, because the best time to be out there, I mean, there's a party going on in your garden, and it's at 11 o'clock at night.
But then how do you get rid of them?
You got to pick up the snails.
You're just talking about the kind way.
Well, I'm going to tell everybody the kind way, and if anyone's heard my workshops and listened to me talk about it, is you put corn out in your garden, just an ear of corn. Eat it and at a barbecue and put it out in the garden, and all the snails and slugs will be attracted to the sweetness of the corn. They'll drop everything they're doing, and they'll come and eat the corn. And so if you get out at night or the first thing in the morning, you'll see them all on the corn, and you can pick up that piece of corn and put it in the trash can.
And there they go.
Or else you can throw it out into the street.
On the neighbors.
Exactly. I mean, I throw them out in the street, and I figure I give them 50-50 chance to get back, or else they don't get back. And I don't want to say, you got to kill everything.
Well, so Dave, we only have a couple minutes, and we have to get to the good part. When can we eat those tomatoes? So you're saying that you grew from seed. I want to say you said Earth Day. That's April.
Yep.
A tomato plant, and you have a tomato. So
we have a green tomato.
Okay.
So we're a couple weeks away from seeing the green tomato turn into. I mean, obviously we're going to give it time to ripen on the vine, and but I mean, that's how fast a tomato goes, is 90 days, 120 days, right in that area. Same thing like everyone that just last week, 4th of July, planted their pumpkins.
Of course.
4th of July, plant your pumpkins, and that's what you're doing, out for October. So you're always staying in the vegetables or in the perennials and in the annual colors. You're always staying 2 or 3 months ahead.
So what should we plant now then?
Well, I kind of look at, say, if you're going into the fall right now, because we blink and summer's over like that.
Hey, Christmas in July,
So it's nice to get into some of your fall vegetables, your broccolis and stuff like that, that you could start. And so
in seed, from seed.
Yeah, in seed, or just kind of fall colors too, that you see out there. And you'll read on the pack, it'll say when it's set. The thing is, a lot of the seed packs are from the East Coast. So it doesn't so much apply to us in California, especially us even closer to the ocean.
There's a bias. They aren't giving us the West Coast scoop.
Yeah, well, we garden 12 months out of the year in California. Martha Stewart used to always give us all this information. I say, hey, excuse me, Martha, but we're 12 months out here. Okay, we don't stop in the winter unless you're up at Lake Arrowhead or Big Bear. So, but so it's a little bit different, and sometimes you just have to pick and seed. So, but you're always trying to stay ahead of the game by getting the seeds out there. But
All right. Well, excellent tips. Your website is dsnowgardendesign.com. And when you go to David's website, in addition to learning about all these things, you'll see the beautiful monarch butterfly, which is how I met you for the first time. And you have to, if you want to bring monarchs to your garden, get what's called the milkweed plant. And you brought one in again for me, and it has the monarch caterpillar right there in all its glory.
Yeah. And Cindy, they could also go onto my Facebook. It's David Snow Garden Design and Butterfly Habitats, and we could post pictures too of some of the caterpillars that are out there. I want to just say a quick little note to some of the people out there. We haven't had a huge monarch season this year.
Yeah,
I mean it's June, July, and I haven't seen that many. We're just starting to go into it. So hang on, be patient. Okay. They're out there, and they will find your milkweeds. And if you need milkweed, go to my website, and I'll help you find it.
Or we'll just see you off the freeway. Because
I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore.
All right, David Snow. So fun having you. And I tell you what, next time you see me, I'm going to have some vegetables grown from seed. I promise. So great tips. I love the shake and bake technique on the dryer. All right. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Fun to have you. And well, you'll come back, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You got it. All right. Well, coming up, we're going to segue into our second hour just after this quick news update and traffic look. But don't you go away, because the fun continues. We're going to talk about ways to really make your home smart, energy smart. A couple of families who did it, and boy, are they saving big time on their utility bills. And then later, we're going to talk with a production designer in Hollywood who's all about making sure those TV shows and films that you see, that the home, that the living room, the kitchen looks like it really should from that period, and what we can learn from that design. Home Wizards, we continue. Cindy Dole, let's kick it up. Go ahead, Seth.